But I tell you this, Papa Man, I'm gonna leave here and I ain't never coming back. Never no more. Because every time I come, it's just one big hassle.
Hello and welcome to another bad movie review. Today I'd like to talk to you about a movie I just watched called The Black Hooker. Straight out of 1974, this disaster is also titled Street Sisters, Black Mama, or Don't Leave Go My Hand. I don't know what that means, but I'm pretty sure it's Don't Let Go of My Hand in real English. This was directed by Arthur Roberson, who also wrote the stage play for it, which I'm betting couldn't have possibly been worse than this. The premise is there's a black prostitute who has a mixed race child and sends the boy to live with her parents, his grandparents. Grandpa doesn't like the boy because he was born out of wedlock and he just ain't right, to use the quotation from the film. Grandma likes him, and yeah, he grows up. The kid that got to play the actor they had to play the boy was as lily white as it got, little blonde-haired, blue-eyed kid, and everybody else has a much darker melanin complexion, so it didn't really mesh up. Okay, assuming that the boy would be born despite genetics saying otherwise, that he'd be predisposed to having darker hair. Sure, let's run with it. Grandpa still doesn't like the kid because he was born out of wedlock, and the kid struggles with being of a mixed race and not really fitting in and trying to identify. The usual sort of themes there. It just wasn't done well here. The acting was atrocious. I mean, painful. I understand what they were trying to do, and most of these people weren't actors. That's fine. There's lots of movies with bad actors. This was just a wreck all around. The acting was, as far as I'm concerned, a mild part of the problem. The technical aspects, what really kills this movie. The pacing is slow. It's boring. It's filmed like a stage play. So just imagine that you went to see like a 6th grade kid's stage play and you're videotaping it from the audience. It's the same kind of look. These people are not professional actors, so I'll give them a little bit of credit there. They tried. The grandparents were the best actors in the whole movie, as far as I'm concerned. They clearly were theater actors or had some theatrical training. Everybody else, I don't know what was going on there. But the technical aspects really outweigh that. There's weird close-ups, bizarre camera angles that betray the low budget and a lack of technical understanding of filmmaking. It's not that they were trying something artsy, it's that I think they just had no idea what they were doing. And it was unsettling, like they were going for a porno look. Like, I've seen 70s porn, and don't judge me. Some of it kind of reminded me of that, and the soundtrack really sounded porno. But other times, like the sex scenes, it looked like a serial killer's home movies. Like, not a stable one either, like a deranged Ed Gein type psychopath. The camera's all over the place. There's close-ups on weird parts of the body. It just makes no sense. I didn't know what to make of that. And add this creepy 70s porno music on top, and you get a complete mess. And plus, on top of that, a lot of the scenes don't even make any sense for what they're trying to portray in the movie. There's conversations that seem to go nowhere, scenes that just, you're like, what is this? What is this a part of? What are they trying to get at? So, yeah, even with like the couple of boob scenes and what's obviously sex scenes thrown in to spice things up, it doesn't save this movie. It doesn't even help it. In a lot of ways, it kind of hurts it, because if you took the actual sex scenes out and the nudity out, you could probably have this as some sort of cult classic of moral preaching, like some sort of moralization tale, and it would probably be shown in churches or in a bunch of nannies training seminars or something, and as like, oh, boys could go wayward, and what not to do sort of thing. But any moral that is in this movie is lost by the weirdness of the techniques used. The static shots for a lot of the interiors where the camera isn't moving. You're not getting good close-ups. The close-ups they do have are framed really bizarrely, like they couldn't adjust the camera or didn't know how to. So you'll have somebody standing there and most of their face will be in the frame, but it'll be like their cheeks over, and you can't tell what the hell's going on, and you're so distracted by the weirdness of the imagery. Like, this movie isn't even good to make fun of. It's just like what not to do when making movies. And I understand that a lot of back then, they didn't have instant replay. You had to have the film developed by a company and sent back to you. So they may have only had one take worth of film that they could use that was, actually able to be used. So they had to throw it together this way. But it turns into a stylistic nightmare. Seriously, this was something like if you've seen Clockwork Orange, which I would hope that you probably have, this movie looks like the torture movie that they showed him in Clockwork Orange. And you're just like, what is going on? So I can't recommend this one because of the terrible acting, the weird problems with all the technical aspects. The film quality is really poor. Even the best prints of it aren't good. And yeah, it's the soundtrack does not help. And it's a period piece. So you have a weird porno 70s soundtrack set in like a 1930s type movie. So it doesn't really mesh. And there's a lot of problems kind of coming together in one spot. And the nudity could not save this. The creepy, weird sex scenes really will just make people uncomfortable and look really goofy. So yeah, I'm going to have to give this one an avoid. If you're into, like, it's not even a blaxploitation film like Shaft or Sweet Sweetback's Badass Song. It's just a bizarre film that doesn't really fit anywhere. If I had to classify it, I'd put it in the Hicksploitation department because the poor people are kind of stereotyped a little bit, I think. And I think it belongs more in that category than the blaxploitation or the sexploitation films. And the title Black Hooker was just, I think, put in there to kind of ride the coattails of the blaxploitation wave and get more butts and seats in the theater. And I think that actually hurt this movie more than it probably helped it. Because like I said, without the sex scenes, it might be able to be construed as a moralistic tale that you could have a cult following built around. But without that, it's just a bizarre, weird film. And it's not well done. And it's not particularly memorable. And it does have some pretty funny dialogue at times, but that doesn't make it worth watching over and over again, much less one time. So that'll wrap it up for this one. I'm done ranting. This one's a pass for me, but if you're looking for a really weird movie that makes no sense, Black Hooker might be your film. Until next time, thanks for listening.
Or do you get your pleasure